Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail, Pikeville. I'm Andrew Joyce, joined by the all-time winningest coach in Kentucky high school history. Now with 345 wins, 34 consecutive winning seasons, we call him Papa Bear. He is your coach of the University of Pikeville Bears, Dudley Hilton. Now 2-1 on the season, but still on our way to our 35th consecutive winning season. Coach, welcome in.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
Tough trip to Georgia, first road trip of the year, and of course Saturday in Georgia the Bears fell behind 20-0 early in that game, then took a fourth quarter lead on a pass from Trevor Hoskins to Axel Rivas, covered 8 yards. Michael Quick, he's been phenomenal this year. He hits the PAT with 10:54 to go, and the Bears in front for the first time on the afternoon. The Hawks got the ball back down the stretch. They moved it to the Bear 28. They tried a field goal and nailed it. They take the lead 23-21. 28 seconds to go. The Bears weren't quite ready to die, however. Returned the kick to the 32. Hoskins hit freshman Tanner Napier for a 37-yard gain to the shorter 31. A spike of the football to stop the clock, and then a connection with Napier for another 15 yards to the 16 with 8 seconds to go. Pikeville sent Quick on to try the 33-yard game-winning field goal, blocked by Shorter. Picked it up and returned it 65 yards for the score as the horn sounded. And, of course, Coach Hilton, 29-21, a heartbreaking loss to Shorter, who's now number 18 in the country. An exciting finish, but overall, your thoughts on the Bears' performance?
Well, it was ended up being a very rough evening. We started off a little rough, but in between we played well, done a lot of great things, get ourselves back in the ball game, and give ourselves the opportunity. And I think that's the biggest thing I was proud of the kids, that they did fight back and got themselves back in to give themselves a chance to win. And some of the spokes fell out of our wheel a little bit on the end, but we had some very good performances down the end. Tanner made a heck of a catch on one of the first big long pass, and it was just we made some performance, but come down the end we just didn't execute. We didn't block well up front. I believe the Quick boy could have nailed it if we'd have given him a little bit more protection, but we just didn't settle down right there on the end, and that kind of hurt us. But we fought, and we went down there, and they knew that the University of Pikeville showed up down there that day. It was a big crowd. We had a lot of people representing our university. We had a whole team from Zephyrhills, Florida, had about a 40 in their group that drove up, and had a lot of parents and friends down that area that supported our Bears, and we had quite a few people in the stands, but their side was packed. A very well-to-do school, very good facilities. Of course, that's where they play their national championship every year, and it was a good treat for us to go down there and see their facilities and everything. But we sure like to brought home a win. We came very close to doing it, but in this old business, that's the way it works. Somebody told me last week when we find out if you can coach now or not, and I thought, well, now I still don't know if I can coach or not because we didn't win. So I've got to try to prove again down the road. One of these gets tough teams that where they say you prove. But I thought our kids proved that we can play with anybody in this conference, and that's what we did Saturday.
No doubt, it's a nationally ranked team in the top 20 in the country. 20-0 early in that game. What do you attribute that to? Was it possibly the first road trip of the year and just settling down?
No, I just think we started off a little stale, missed some things early. They drove the first drive down the field and scored on us, and they kind of gutted us there a little bit, 15, 20 yards at a time. And I think the speed of their linemen and everything just got after us, and we didn't see that in practice, and I think the tempo kind of caught us off guard defensively. Offensively, we came out and we didn't move the ball the first series, and three downs and out, and you asking the defense to go back out there real quickly again, and again they gut us again. So we stumped our toes the second time. I think we got the ball offensively, but finally after we settled down and things started coming harder for them, and we started playing a little bit better defense. Our offense started picking things up, and we come down there right again. About the third or fourth time we go down the field and have a chance to score. even stumped our toes that time and messed up and don't score, but we bounced right back. Our defense did a good job holding them. We scored right there before the half, and we come in at halftime. We knew it was in the football game, and we come out second half, played awful good defense. We controlled the ball offensively, and we did what we needed to do to win the football game. But again, you say we dug ourselves too deep for a hole, but we really didn't, because we went back ahead, and we got out of the hole if we got in a hole. But we just we made some gutsy calls down in the ball game to try to give us a chance to win. But I told the kids before we started, we didn't go down there to play for funds. We didn't go down there to play for to be close to them. We went down there to win, and I think the kids believed in it, and that's what we went down there to do. And I told them after the game I could have cried for every one of them, because they all deserved to win. They wanted to win, and it just didn't. It wasn't meant there in Rome, Georgia's first to come away with a win.
Was Shorter the best team you'd faced this year?
Well, of course, all I can get out of it to listen to some of the kids. I know John Dudley says it's the best team he ever played against in his life, but he's just played 3 college games, so he don't have many to compare it to. But I think they're up tempo, way they got off the ball, way they attacked you. I think they really come to hit us hard and everything. I thought we was just as big as they were, and I'm thinking we just as good athletic as they were. But just a very, again, Andrew, you get in this situation, you're playing against a team that's got 25 seniors, and when you're taking 6 seniors down there, it's hard to play with teams that's got the 25 seniors. And I hope someday that we're sitting here on this radio show saying, well, we're playing with them because we got 25, 30 seniors. And right now, till we get that situation, that's going to always be a little, sore on us. And so hopefully that, we can overcome it. But I think the only thing Shorter had on us was a senior. The kids that's been playing for 3 or 4 years. That our kids are mostly freshmen and sophomores, and just in their second year. So again, if they had an edge, that would have to be athletic ways. I think we were as good, as not better than them, and missing that probably that senior leadership.
You're listening to the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail. Every Tuesday night we're here, and coming up a little later tonight, we'll have special guest in, Justin Lamb, one of the coaches on the staff at the University of Pikeville, and sophomore wideout Jordan Amos will join us as well as we talk about University of Pikeville football. Coach Hilton, the regular season opener, of course, the exhibition versus Point, the win over Southern Virginia, Kentucky Wesleyan, and even after the loss to Shorter. Are you seeing the improvement that you want out of this team?
Well, I think so. We was a little sluggish early in the week on practice this week, and I feel like we've got to bounce back and keep coming, because this league's pretty darn tough, and we got to be ready every week, and that's what we call growing up pain. I think we took the loss hard. I think our kids felt bad over the loss. So to me, the only way you improve yourself is take your losses hard, and I thought we did that. And but as far as growing up, I think our kids see now, hey, we can compete with anybody in this conference. We just got to outwork them and keep working hard. And I like to think we're getting better. I like to think, that we've got things going in the right way. We played a JV game last night and won the first JV game ever in the history of our school. So it's rubbing off on our young kids. I think, we got, good showing there. So I'm hoping that, it's all believing what you believe in. And, I wasn't fortunate enough to play on a very good high school team, but I've been fortunate enough to coach some good high school teams. And I've had a lot of teams I didn't think had a chance to win, but they felt good about themselves. Some way or another, Andrew, they went out there and won the game. And I don't know how good we are, but I think our kids are feeling good about themselves. They feel like they're as good as Georgetown or Shorter or anybody in our conference. And I'm not going to tell them no different. I'm going to keep working hard with them, and hopefully they we can all get believing, and we can show that we're as good as anybody in this conference.
I promise you I won't tell them either.
Okay, don't do it.
We'll go beat those guys. Heading to Shorter, the first road trip, you had some questions. You had to have some questions heading there on the road with freshmen and sophomore, a young team facing an experienced team. Did you have any of those questions answered?
Well, it was a great experience for me. That's the longest road trip I ever took in my life, But, It's we had it well planned. I had Coach Sims set up everything for us, and our kids handled everything well. I thought we, went with our business hat on, and we went there to play the game. So I was worried about how could they handle the overnight stay and how they could act going into a restaurant and everything. But yeah, I took a bunch of gentlemen to the game. They all acted well represented University of Pikeville well, and I just those questions was asked because when you take a bunch of boys you really don't know that well, and you're taking about 65 of them, and I was very pleased that they went for the right reason. They didn't go on for a vacation or anything like that, and that was most of the answers. When you go away from home, you get a little bit closer knit. And one thing I remember Coach Holland said last year during the off season that he told me that we played better on the road and we did at home last year. And I said, well, we got to change that. We got to change where our home games, we make sure that we feel like we're at home. Away games will take care of themselves because you get that unity on the away game because you're eating together, you're riding the bus together, and so you get that togetherness a little bit more. But I think we can continue play together like we did on the road. That we'll be well represented on the road too.
I think a lot of listeners may not understand that you might play better on the road. Is it simply about focus, being together, and being able to spend that much time staying focused on the game instead of the distractions of home?
Yeah, no, I think the only reason it's not as big today as it was 10 years ago. We didn't have all these cell phones. Now you used to go away and you didn't have to worry about anything, but because now you communicate back home well. But I think you do get to focus. You don't have to run errands or anything like that. The only thing you're going to do is play football. So I think that's the big thing about a road game is that you can get focused a little bit more. But I tell you, we're doing a good job in our home games here right now about some things we're doing to get our kids focused. And again, going back that said we didn't play very well at home last year, and that's some things we're working on at the home to get focused a little bit more on our home games.
Coach Dudley Hilton, it is the Dudley Hilton Show as we talk University of Pikeville football every Tuesday night, presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail. By the way, the new Bear Burger is out, and this thing has been floating around the restaurant tonight. You've got to be a bear to be able to handle this thing because if not, it will claw you. We're talking with Coach Dudley Hilton of the University of Pikeville Bears. And, Coach, each week we'll give you an opportunity to talk about some individual performances that stood out to you after taking a look at the film.
Well, again, offensively, I thought, we had some great plays, great catches. I thought Amos put on another good show, catching the ball and running with it. Trevor threw the ball well. Our offensive line is so young, and we just got to keep growing them up every week and keep, might bring some of these, start coming out here and feeding them some of these bear burgers, but, they've got to keep coming for us. And, defensively, I thought we played well. Again, we're having a lot of young kids over there, but secondary, Shorter completed like 2 out of 11 passes against us, so that has to be a plus for our secondary. And our defensive lineman up there did a great job. But I think one thing we're doing a real good job, and you mentioned at the start of the show, is our special teams. I think our special team is doing a great job. We got the young man, Terrell Boyd, this week was the player of the week in the conference on the special team. So there's 2 out of 3 weeks that we've had somebody that represented the University of Pikeville. But I think our special teams are doing a good job. We had 2 fake punts that we executed very well. We had an onside kick we executed very well. And if you're going to go and beat somebody like Shorter, you got to execute those things. So, so our special teams did well and thought we did a good job there.
Of course, had one blocked at the end, but Grayson Quick, he's perfect with the point afters all season long. He's among the nation's top in punting as well.
Well, again, that's, you sit here and brag on your offense, and then all of a sudden they throw an interception. You brag on your defense, and they give up the long play. You brag on your special team, and all of a sudden you get a field goal block. But, you're just as good as the next play, and I think that's the biggest thing I got to get across to our kids. The very next play is the most important play there is. You Can't worry about what happened to play before. And but right now, you know, we're making some human mistakes. That was a human mistake that
Sure.
we get the field goal blocked. There were some other plays during the course of the game that it wasn't the coaches. It was just you know, just a human mistake. And of course, us coaches, we might make a few there too. But you know, it's just. You know, just one thing leads after another when you get starting making mistakes. But I hated for the blocked field goal. It was a but you know, you never thought you'd be in that situation.
Right.
And if the Napier boy don't make a couple good catches or a couple good throws by Trevor, we might not be in that situation. But the main thing, they put us in that situation. We should have executed, and we didn't. And but on the whole, I thought our special teams did a great job.
Coming out of Shorter, of course, a hard-fought loss, game that you were in a situation to win. Anything that was truly a concern after that game that you said, we've got to address this week?
Well, no, not really. I couldn't pinpoint any one thing. You know, I feel like our kids were hungry to win. They wanted to win. I didn't know how to handle some of these older boys' feelings. You know, I knew in high school how to handle your feelings and you know, smack you around and say, let's get ready for the next week. But these kids were hurting because, you know, they've heard so many negative things the last couple of years with their program going down, and they wanted to keep on shining. And I told them, you know, we've dug our way out of a hole a little bit. Now we stumbled back down in. Hey, we're going to come back out again. And you know, as far as learning any one thing, it's just that we're going to show this week if we can bounce back after a heartache, and then we'll see what we learn from it, you know.
Coach Dudley Hilton, we have a guest on the show tonight, receivers coach Justin Lamb. He's a coach's kid. Al Holland, offense coordinator, he's a coach's kid. Last week we had your son, John Dudley Hilton, on, another coach's kid. Those guys are around athletics their entire lives. How does that mold an individual, besides a player or a coach? But how does that mold an individual, just being a coach's kid?
Well, I think they know what the feeling of the win, you know, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And I think they're brought up around those things, you know, and I think that's what makes them, you know, starts, you know, looking on how they can improve themselves in their coaching ability and playing ability and go on. But you can relate with them a lot more because, you know, they've been around those things.
Sure.
But, you know, it's good to know that we've got these guys here. I didn't realize we had so many coaches' kids, you know, but that's good.
There are probably even more that we've left out.
Yeah, that we probably left out. But, you know, it's they know the game, and they wouldn't be in it if they wouldn't kind of drove into them, you know.
It is the Dudley Hilton Show. We're talking University of Pikeville football presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail, Pikeville. We're here every Tuesday evening at 6:30, and you're invited to join us. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll talk with Justin Lamb, receivers coach at UPike. Also coming up, our player spotlight tonight, Jordan Amos, a wideout with the University of Pikeville Bears. And, of course, Dudley Hilton will return with more of the Dudley Hilton Show as we take a look at Faulkner University coming up this weekend at the Hamley Complex. Coach Dudley Hilton, first loss of the season. We're shaking that off. We're looking forward to Faulkner coming up this week. So Shorter's behind us now.
There you go. And that's why we're looking at it too.
The Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. We're back right after this. Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail, Pikeville. Andrew Joyce now joined by receivers coach Justin Lamb of the University of Pikeville Bears. And Justin Lamb, a young man that we've seen grow up, literally saw him grow up before our eyes. Of course, knew your dad as a high school football coach. And Justin, welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show. I would imagine this is a little different than those 6 a.m. Dudley Hilton shows that you're a part of every day.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Of course, as a receivers coach, first we want to talk about your background as a receiver, because watching you grow up, watching you play in high school and college, and even with the drillers in indoor football, always had tremendous hands. That's something I would imagine it's kind of tough to teach. But talk about your background as a player and then as a coach.
Well, first started off, I wasn't even going to be a receiver. Started out quarterback, played behind Coach Holland, which is offense coordinator. So then I decided to move to receiver, and it just came natural. It's easy transition from quarterback to receiver. Worked on it day in, day out, threw a lot of passes, caught a lot of balls.
And of course, that's what it's all about: throwing and
Yes,
catching,
yes, sir.
blocking, tackling. Football is a very simple game,
It is.
but when you don't do those things, you don't win very often. You've got a young group of receivers.
Yes, sir.
For the majority, your receiver is very young. What kind of challenges do you face in coaching that group?
They're still kind of green in some areas of how to run routes, proper technique. They want to rely a lot on their speed, in which we do have a lot of fast receivers, but sometimes it comes to more route running, and it's just kind of frustrating sometimes to get them to run the right route at the right depths, and just simple stuff that I know we can do. If they want to rely on that speed aspect of it, where speed does help, but route running to perfection will get you more open than just speed will.
Of course, in high school, you can rely on speed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're going to beat a lot of guys that way,
Yeah.
and they have to learn that other aspect. Your relationship with Coach Holland, the offensive coordinator, a good relationship. Trevor Hoskins' experience, his relationship with Coach Holland as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that's got to go a long way in helping these receivers grow up, literally, at U-Pike.
It does. Once me and Coach Holland got to playing, I kind of figured out, what he's going to do and what I can do before, without even really saying anything to each other. So it's went on to us coaching together. I know what he's thinking. Well, not exactly what he's thinking, but I know about what he's thinking when he's trying to do something. So I can go ahead and tell my receivers, he's telling Trevor to do this, so you all need to be doing this, and it works perfect hand in hand without really Trevor saying it to our receivers or vice versa.
Of course, one of our guests coming up next, we'll talk with Jordan Amos. Of course, great career at Perry Central. Not a wideout at Perry Central. No, he was on the other direction of those passes, but tremendous athlete. Not the biggest receiver in the Mid-South Conference. Talk about his play and why he can be so effective.
The whole quarterback situation that was in at Perry Central, that's a very easy transition, like I'd said, from going quarterback to receiver. You kind of know what a quarterback looks for as you're running routes. He's got that same mobility and the speed aspect of the routes that some people just can't keep up with him, and that's taken him a long way. And he just knows how to run routes. He's got that feel for the game.
And then conversely, you've got the Napier kid who hasn't been playing football a long time, but he's not 5'9". He's a little bigger receiver, and he's just now learning the game. What kind of potential do you see in him?
He's unlimited. He's already got the height. He's got speed. Some things you just don't see in the Mid-South Conference. And if he can just work in, day out to improve his game, he could be unstoppable.
Talk about the rest of your receiving core. Talk about them individually.
We have two seniors, Axel Rivas, Bobby Owens. They're great guys. Bobby's been with us for 5 years. He's a role player in our offense, and he does what he needs to. Axel is a transfer guy in. He's another one of those guys that's hard to tell what to do because he already knows what to do.
Sure.
He's just got that feel for the game. Shantez Johnson, he's a big freshman wide receiver. He had some big catches for us against Shorter, kept us in the game. He's another one of those guys that potential unlimited. And, just some of them other guys, they do what needs to be done. We're a great group of receivers. We're not all about, hey, I need to get my catches, you get my yards. It's more, as long as we win, it's great. And that's a great part.
A couple of weeks ago, talked to Trevor Hoskins, of course, the quarterback of this team, and an experienced quarterback. And we talked about a lot of times you'll see quarterbacks who have favorite receivers. And when they're in a go-to situation, they'll go to that particular receiver. Haven't really seen that from Trevor in his entire career here at Pikeville. He's been able to find the guy he needs to go to instead of locking in on one particular.
And that's the thing with our receivers. There's not really there may be one guy that's a step faster, one guy that's a couple inches taller, but we're all across the board. We're all the same. We can catch. One person can catch just as good as another one, or the other one can run the same route the same way. And that's a big aspect of being as a group of receivers, being able to do that, because when it comes down to it, in game time, crunch time, we could have thrown it to Shantez, which is just as tall as Tanner, but Tanner was on that side, so we threw it to him. We didn't have to switch players and go have one going here and one going there, kind of key on it. When you've got guys that have no doubt that when you throw the ball, they're going to catch it, it just makes the game a whole lot easier.
I ask you to grade your receivers through 3 games this season. Simple grading scale.
We've done good. We can catching the ball, blocking. I've preached and preached and preached blocking. We've got to get a whole lot better on blocking.
Right.
I know we don't do it a lot, which should make it a little bit more easier, but overall we've graded 80s, 85s, and that for right now, as early as it is, that's really where we want to be. Later on in the season, we want to get up to that upper 80s, lower 90s.
Mid-South Conference, so tough. It's kind of hard to
it
improve
is.
on the season. You've got to be ready for the get-go from early on in the season.
It is, and I've said it for 7 years now since I've been here. Mid-South Conference is probably the best overall conference in the AI, and I don't doubt it one bit. And you know, you're facing that same tough competition week in, week out, and we're going to play the best everybody's got to offer, and it just makes it tough.
Talking with Justin Lamb, receivers coach at the University of Pikeville, and this is the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail. Coach, one final question. If a player is listening right now or seeing this program and they want to become a better receiver, they want to play at the next level or just be a better receiver, whether they're a middle school player now or a high school player, what advice would you give them?
It's an everyday thing. You got to get out there and do it every day. You got to put down that Xbox controller, PlayStation controller. You got to get out there and work for it. It ain't going to be handed to you.
You're not catching passes with your thumbs?
That's right.
Yeah, you got to get out there and do it. You got to get out there and do it. Justin Lamb, he's a receivers coach at the University of Pikeville. It is the Dudley Hilton Show, and we'll have our player spotlight when we come back. One of those receivers, Jordan Amos. He's not a big guy, plays with a lot of heart. Justin Lamb, thanks for all you do, and good luck to the Bears this weekend.
Thank you.
The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We'll be right back. Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless from Jerry's Restaurant, South Mayo Trail. We're here every Tuesday evening at 6:30, and you're invited to join us. Of course, the Bear Burger now on the menu, and better be a big old boy to be able to handle the Bear Burger. And our student player spotlight joining us now. Jordan Amos, not necessarily a big guy. He's got a big heart. We'll find out about his appetite as he tackles the Bear Burger a little bit later. But Jordan Amos, welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show. And of course, we do distinguish that student athlete, student comes first. Every player spotlight, we'll talk about the academic side of your career first. What's your major? What are your plans for your future?
I'm majoring in secondary education, history. I'd like to be a teacher just so I can coach at the high school level. That's getting me a little room to work with. I'm competitive. I like to stay competitive. I like to be involved in sports for the rest of my life.
Right. Not a bad career for those guys around athletics all their life. It's a pretty natural transition. Jordan Amos, Perry Central product, 2,700 yards of offense in your senior year. 5'9" sophomore. I asked you moments ago, still 5'9", still $165, and last year as a freshman caught 38 passes, averaged 4 per game, averaged 39 yards per catch, over 700 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns. Already in 2011, 19 catches in just 3 games, averaging 10 yards a catch and 3 scores. Jordan Amos, the number 13 ranked NAI receiver in catches per game, number 19 in the nation in receptions this early 2011 season. Other schools said, Jordan Amos, you're too small to play college football. What would you say to those guys now?
Well, I don't know what I'd say to them. I just got to keep proving myself as a football player. I don't think I was given a fair chance out of high school because of my size. You know, them big schools just came and looked at me, and I didn't hear from them again. But, you know, Pikeville, I felt like they wanted me. They gave me a fair chance. So I just came here and worked my butt off. I didn't play the first 3 games. Right. It was a big transition to come from a true quarterback to a wideout. And I just kept working hard, and I finally got my chance and made it best of it.
I want to ask you about that transition because as a broadcaster in Eastern Kentucky, Perry Central, not necessarily in our immediate area, but I had a chance to watch you play a lot during your high school career. Standout athlete, big man on campus at Perry Central, were you not? Yeah. And that's typical of high school athletes. You make the transition to college, you're a freshman, and the first 3 games you don't see the field. What's going through your mind then?
I'm going to be honest, you do get down a little bit. You do, all you can do is just keep working hard. It's, you know, you're not that big star athlete in college anymore. You're just another number.
Just another guy.
So, it is a big transition. I keep telling freshmen this year, you know, stay with it. Don't go home because, there's nothing there for you. We need you here. you'll get your chance one day and just make the best of it. And I did.
Jordan Amos, first of all, want to talk about 2011 versus 2010. Obviously changes in the football program. 180 coming into camp this summer. Dudley Hilton, the all-time winningest high school football coach in Kentucky, now the head coach. What are the differences in being a Bear player this year than last?
It's a totally different atmosphere. I mean, Coach Hilton, he brings a lot to the table. You never find anyone who wants to win more than that guy does. And that's all you ask for of a coach. He works, he brings it to the table every day. From last year, you know, we didn't have any accountability, we didn't have no discipline. That's all changed this year already, this early in the season. Coach Hilton, you know, he's all-time winningest coach in high school in the state of Kentucky. I mean, what else can you say?
Does that automatically bring with it respect from the players?
Yes, it does. I mean, you look up to a guy like that already, knowing that that's where he's coming from. He's won everywhere he's been, so I look for him to continue to win here.
You talk about discipline that the team has this year. Are there any stories you can tell maybe that we could convey to our listeners and viewers, Dudley Hilton instilling discipline in this team?
Well, he's straightforward with you. He don't bullcrap you. He don't do anything else. If you miss practice, he's going to be on you. Last year, you know, we had, I think week 8, we had 30 people at practice of an 80-man roster. And I can tell you right now that ain't going to happen this year because he puts that fear in the back of your head. I mean, he's going to get on to you.
John Dudley Hilton was on the show last week, and he said he's mean.
Well, John Dudley has to go home with it. I mean, you know, I played for my dad in grade school ball, and
right.
I know how it is. It's rough. You know, they're on you more than they are. I know they don't mean to be, but it's just the way it is. And
sure. Coach Dudley Hilton, does he compare to any other coaches you've had in your playing career, or major differences?
I had good coaching in high school, so, I mean, I'm not going to say that he's better than they are, but he's a great coach. And, you know, in high school, Coach Brown, he was a great football coach. He wanted to win. He taught you a lot about life, and Coach Hilton's the same way. It ain't all about just football. It's about getting yourself up, going to school, going to class, getting your work done. It's all about priorities.
This get tough thing, how has the team adapted to that motto?
It's a good motto. I mean, he's got that old hat. I believe it. I don't know when it came out in, but it's still there. And you know, last year our motto was all in. That kind of didn't work for us, but it worked for the basketball team. They went on to win a national championship. So now we got a new slogan, and I hope it works for us.
Your receivers coach, Justin Lamb, how's he helped you become a better football player?
Well, like I said, I had to transition from a quarterback to a wide receiver, and he's helped me tremendously with that. You know, run stick drill every day on my routes, just running to the right depth of your route. I know people underestimate that, but that's a big key.
Sure.
Just using your hands, blocking. You know, he started for 4 years. He knows what he's talking about. He's the all-time leading receiver in Pikeville history right now, and I listen to him. He knows what he's talking about.
You looking to take over that title before you leave?
I knew right when I said that.
Yeah, I had to ask it. It was natural.
Yes, I mean, that's not. I'd rather win a conference championship, national championship, but I mean that is in the back of your head. I would like to have that because, you know, he's labeled as that right now,
sure.
and I'd like to be labeled as that too.
I guarantee you, if you take his records, he wouldn't mind a bit.
He's going to be the first to congratulate me. He ain't
you.
selfish at all. I know
Guarantee it. Jordan Amos, and he is in the top 20 in receiving in the nation in NAI. Not the biggest guy on the field, but you see this guy play, and you'll see why. Plays with a lot of heart, and he's got those intangibles that football players have, the football players that are winners, and that's what it's all about here at Pikeville. Jordan, quickly, goals for this team this year from a player's perspective.
Well, you know, we obviously conference championships first. You know, the undefeated season was there, but that didn't work out for us. We had a tough loss this weekend. It was hard to swallow, but I believe our guys have done a good job bouncing back. Our coaches have helped us with that. You know, beat Georgetown. That's one. Pikeville's never beat them in football. We should have beat them last year, but you know, and
Let's get that Mid-South Conference crown.
Yeah, that's
Take
the
care
main
of
thing.
Georgetown, the conference championship. Let's get Dudley Hilton that 35th consecutive winning season.
That'd
I
be
think
great.
that'd go a long way to
Yeah.
reaching all those goals.
Yep.
Jordan Amos, University of Pikeville receiver. We'll continue with more of the Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in, the Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. As we talk University of Pikeville football, the Bears 2-1 now on the season, coming off a 29-21 loss to Shorter University, number 18 ranked Shorter University, nationally ranked, and of course the Bears receiving votes in last week's poll and looking for a win over Faulkner University coming up this Saturday at the Hambly Complex. It's a 1:30 kickoff at the Hambly, an afternoon meeting, and it's Mid-South Conference action, Faulkner being from the Western Division. Coach Dudley Hilton, 1:30 kickoff. You've had a couple of 6 o'clock starts at home. Does it change the schedule? Obviously somewhat, but does it change it drastically for the players and coaches?
Well, it does, since it's a home game. And, you know, I worried a little bit last week about our first afternoon game. And, you know, we've been practicing in the mornings when it's cool and everything. And you worry about, did you do the right things for your kids? But I thought Saturday afternoon we looked very good in condition. I never remembered one kid getting a cramps or anything like that. So, you know, that was a good sign for us. So now we're coming at home, and you know, we'll have a pregame meal early in the mornings, and we won't have to wait all day for our game. It will be there, and I think it'll be a better atmosphere for our football players and also for our fans. And I'm really looking forward to being an afternoon game. I always think, you know, high school games are played on Friday night, and college football games are played on Saturday afternoon. So, you know, we're excited about it, but I think our kids are in shape that we can handle the heat if it's going to be like that Saturday.
Coach Dudley Hilton, it is the Dudley Hilton Show as we talk U-Pike football. And, Coach, we've talked to some of the assistant coaches, Justin Lamb, in just moments ago. Your receivers with some national rankings among your receivers in the top 20 nationally, among receivers in the NAIA. Must be pleased with the job they're doing to be such a young group.
Well, yeah, and you know they know where they stand on their position and running their patterns. They work on it every day and get a lot of balls thrown at them every day too. And I think you got to have that, and you know, run the great patterns. And we're all about patterns on our offense. You know, if they're not doing it, I guess they'll be out there. And sometimes you gotta. There are some things you can't teach a kid, and you know, I think that's good to know they're not such a robot, that they will go in areas that they, you know, to be open more for Trevor, things like that, and good smart kids. I think you got to have some smarts to be a good receiver, you know, and run the great pattern. So, you know, I just think that Coach Lamb does a great job with them, and he's got some good kids out there that really listen to him and respects him, because again, you go back to he held some records here too, and probably still does. So he knows what it takes to be a good receiver, and that rubs off on being a good coach also.
Coach Dudley Hilton, the all-time winningest high school coach in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. When you hear a guy like Jordan Amos, who's a college sophomore, and says, I want to go into secondary education, I want to teach, I want to coach, what advice would you give him other than don't go into it? Or would you tell him, by all means, go into it?
Oh, I think it's something a young man wants to do. You know, we cut the coaching profession down a little bit sometimes, and I don't know if we look at it because of money or because of the headaches or what it is, but, you know, it's a great profession, and you know, it's a lot of pressure on you, but, you know, biggest thing, you got a lot of people says they're coaches, and, you know, I just hope they don't say they're coach. You know, there's a coach and there's a coach, you know, and it's not as easy. We had a little meeting with the coaching staff this morning, you know, just, you know, it's easy to put a coaching shirt on and act like you're a coach, but not everybody can do it, and I think somebody that's as successful as Amos is, he would definitely make a good coach someday, and, you know, you know, sometimes we worry about money. I think I worked 10 years before I got paid the first penny for it. So, you know, when a coach comes in and asks you how much money does it pay, I'd say you probably he won't make a good coach. So I don't think Amos, if he wants to work with young men to be a coach, I think he'd be a good fit. And again, being a small person like he is, things hadn't come easy for him. And sometimes the ones that things come easy for don't make the good coach. The ones that has to work so hard to be a good athlete or make make the mark in their career. Always want sometimes to be the best coach. And my first coaching job I ever had in my life, I didn't get it because I didn't play college football, and that's the reason superintendent told me he didn't want to hire me, because I didn't play college football.
Wow.
So sometimes you don't know how things will turn out like that. So just because you're not 6'5" and got the 4.2 speed, don't sign you can't be a coach. You learn how to run the patterns a lot different,
How much is that superintendent kicking himself today,
I
knowing
don't
that
know.
he didn't hire Dudley Hilton, who went on to become the all-time winningest high school coach in Kentucky? Wow, tough one there. Coach, Hawks of Faulkner University at the Hamley this Saturday. What do you know about Faulkner, and maybe a brief scouting report?
Well, I know they got a good quarterback that's just transferred in from, I think he went to Mississippi State or Ole Miss, and he was a Division I player, and he sure plays like that. He was a player of the week, offensive player of the week last week in their loss to a higher division team, and I think he threw like 39 out of 50 passes, and very mobile quarterback, and got some good receivers, and again, just listen to Coach Holland and them talk. Thought they're a lot better than they were last year. So, again, they almost beat them last year. We think we're better, but also when you play somebody you almost beat last year and you hear that they're a lot better than they were last year too. So we're both about in the same boat, and I think we're in for a good Saturday afternoon football game. It's going to be a big challenge for us. We've come off a loss, and we're ready to come back home. We're excited about being home, and I think we'll be up to a top-notch football game Saturday afternoon.
Coming off a loss to Shorter over the weekend, is it easier to refocus your team on this week's opponent?
Oh yeah, I think so, and I think our kids they tasted some thrill of victories early in the year in the first two games or the first three games, and I think they liked it around campus. I think they could see it, feel it in the air, and now they've tasted a little week of sadness, and I think they like the upbeat a lot more than the sadness, and I think that's why they'll bounce back, because like I said, they've got a taste of the thrill of winning, and I think they found out they like that a lot better than the agony of defeat.
Coach Dudley Hilton. It is the Dudley Hilton Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. We're here every Tuesday night from 6:30 till 7:15, 7:30, whenever we get finished talking. And, of course, we come to you from Jerry's. You're invited to join us again next week. Join us Saturday beginning at 1:10 on Z-Rock 107.5 or online at www.1075zrock.com for Pikeville Bears football. Coach, best of luck against Faulkner. We're looking for win number 3.
Thank you very much.
For Dudley Hilton, Justin Lamb, and Jordan Amos, I'm Andrew Joyce. Good evening, everyone.